Oh, yeah. That's right. Denver Broncos going to the playoffs, everybody. It is time to celebrate. Orange Blue Postgame Live. Cecil Lammey here to party with you. So you can jump in with me on this show. Denver Broncos shut out the Kansas City Chiefs. First time in Andy Reid's tenure. Only fourth time in their franchise history. 38-0. And that's how you get to the playoffs, everybody. It's a celebration. It is time to have a little fun, man. Have a little fun. Enjoying this win. Kansas City resting their starters. Denver Broncos getting it done, and they are headed to Buffalo, which means time to make some travel plans, as Andrew Mason and I will be there. Welcome in, everybody. It is Orange Blue Postgame Live. Cecil Lammey talking shutout for the Denver Broncos. I wasn't thinking shutout. I think I had like 24-10, something like that. Wrong. It's 38-0. The Broncos get that win, 38-0. Simply fantastic. Can you believe the Denver Broncos have 10 wins on the season? The Denver Broncos are headed to the postseason, and it feels great, baby. It feels absolutely wonderful for this team. The playoff drought is over. It is time to talk playoff football with the Denver Broncos. They are back in the postseason, and it is glorious. Like Bo Nix setting a franchise record for completion percentage within a game. One of 5 quarterbacks, I believe, with 3,500 yards passing and 25 touchdowns. They're here, man. They made it. It's all smiles around the Mile High City, and it is time to celebrate because they are in the postseason, and I've got 2 fingers for all the Bo Nix doubters. They're number 1 fingers, so corporate don't get mad at me, but you know the fingers I would like to use for the Bo Nix doubters, for the Bo Nix haters, for the Broncos doubters, as they are in the playoffs. And it feels great, man. It feels great. We all just need to take a moment. And I'll get into the game, and I'll certainly start talking to the Buffalo game. I've got an invite out to several people. I'm actually going to be inviting some more here into this show just to celebrate with us and to celebrate with you. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. So just take a moment that they're here, man. Take a moment that they're here and that they made it, and it feels fan-flipping-tastic. It feels awesome to have this team make that sort of stand, and make that sort of run here for the Denver Broncos. It feels great to be here. It feels great knowing that the playoffs are ahead, and it feels great to get that experience. It's one thing I said on Dover and Cecil. I think I said on Orange and Blue today. I talk a lot, so forgive me, but it's the playoff experience that you need. That's what's most fun about this win. It's 1, Kansas City. It's 2, it's home. It's 3, the further backs. It's a shutout. I mean, you're just racking up, great gold stars for everybody. But the main thing in looking ahead is like now they get the experience of going to the postseason. Now they get the experience of playing in a playoff game against the MVP of the league and Josh Allen. Like, you're going to get a litmus test. You're going to get a measurement of where they're at. So before I get there and we start talking about measurement and whatever, I just want everyone to enjoy the moment that is now. The moment that we're here, that we have this right now, that the Denver Broncos are in the postseason, and it is fan-flipping-tastic. And it feels fantastic to have them in the postseason there as well. So everyone celebrate, everyone relax a little bit. I know, not that I couldn't sleep last night, and not that I was nervous But I just didn't like, if they make the postseason. I didn't like that sort of conversation of like, well, if they make the postseason, then if they do this, and then if they do that. Um, I just wanted to talk about they've made it. They've made it, right? I didn't want to have to hem-haw around if they make it, if they're there. They're there. And that's what's fantastic is that we don't have to talk about the ifs, ands, or buts. We don't have to talk about, a disappointing season. Everything from now on is just house money. Everything from now on. It would have been a disappointment had they not made the postseason. Now you could look back and say, well, and then rookie quarterback, and he's the guy, and like there's all these things that we learned. Like all that is true. But it would have been a disappointment had they not made this. Had they not make the postseason. And they made the postseason. And that feels awesome that they were able to do that. It feels great that they were able to do that. And I'm thankful that they, get that there as well. I'm sending out text messages to a bunch of people to see who wants to jump in on the post-game show. And, we'll see who takes me up on my offers here of jumping into the post-game show. I got a lot to say, as always. Chat room's lighting up. Got a few hundred comments already, so we're definitely going to get you in on that. Appreciate everyone out there for doing just that, for being here to enjoy this win, to enjoy what's happened with the Denver Broncos this season, to definitely look forward for sure, but just to kind of cherish what's happened this year and how it's been fantastic for the Denver Broncos to be here and to just celebrate, man, to celebrate what's going on. It feels great, and I cannot wait to see what this team can do in the postseason. That's where my mind's at. I cannot wait to see what this team can do, how they can look, how they measure up, and then, hell, go out and win. Nobody thinks you can win next week against Buffalo. Nobody thinks you can win, so go win. Why not? I'm not going to predict that, but you got house money now. You're not supposed to be there, and everyone sees you as the easy out. You and Houston. If we look at the AFC bracket right now, the Denver Broncos, the Houston Texans are the teams that are seen as the easy outs. Well, don't be an easy out. Either be a tough out or go win, but show where you're at. You get an opportunity, and this doesn't come around very often. I mean, especially with this playoff drought. Since Super Bowl 50, the Broncos have not been in the playoffs since then. And they're back. They are back, and it feels great. Looks like I got some people that are going to jump in. So, again, stay tuned here. We'll have some special guests lined up in this program and in this show. And it's something, the playoff drought is over. And now it's time, a 10-win season, double-digit wins, all this stuff since Super Bowl 50. And this is something that we're used to, or at least we used to be. And then 8 years happened. And in 8 years' time, you didn't have this feeling. Think about Courtland Sutton and Garett Bolles. We talked about it on Friday's OBT. Of like, Courtland Sutton and Garett Bolles have never been here. Now they get to be here. Now you get to go to the postseason. What's that going to feel like? And there's players that play their entire careers and don't go to the playoffs whatsoever. You know what I mean? So it's something where it feels great to be here. It feels great for, the Denver Broncos to be in this situation. And it feels great for Broncos country. I'm sure you guys are over the flipping moon. And again, back to my double birds or two fingers for the Bo Nix doubters, for the Sean Payton doubters, for all that. It's like, yeah, okay. Just how about one finger? Shh. One finger. Open your mouth. Just be quiet. I don't want to hear about the Chiefs laid down, because they totally laid down. I don't want to hear about, oh, you haven't beat anybody. Tampa Bay's going to the playoffs, and they're the type of team that nobody wants to play. So like all these narratives, just when you've been wrong time and time and time again, wouldn't you want to stop being wrong? Wouldn't you want to like shut the hell up and stop being wrong about like this team and this quarterback and this coach? Like, let him play, man. Let him play and see where the chips fall. The offseason is going to have to wait at least one more week. And I am Mr. Draft. And I think earlier today, it came up on my Facebook memories. I'm not on Facebook that much, but it came up of like, hey, it's Cecil season because it's the draft season, right? Not yet. It's Cecil season. That's awesome. It's my favorite time of year. Not yet, because the Broncos are going to the playoffs. So go out there with house money and just make a run. See what you can do and make a run. And you're going to figure out where you're at, what your franchise needs. You're going to have $100 million in cap space or whatever the number is. You're going to have all your draft picks. You're going to have a franchise quarterback. You know what I mean? You already have that. So that's a huge piece of the puzzle that is out of the way for the Denver Broncos. And it feels great to be here. So I don't want to hear about Kansas City laying down because it doesn't matter, right? Gerard Mayo gets fired today because he didn't lose and lost the number 1 pick for New England. I'll assume that's what it was. I mean, I wouldn't say Gerard, blew anybody out of the water this year, but he looked good coaching Drake May. But that was a team that wanted to lose and they didn't lose. Kansas City wanted to lose and they lost. Denver wanted to win and they won. So they're in. And once you make the dance, yes, they are a Super Bowl contender. Think about that. With Bo Nix in his rookie year, they are a Super Bowl contender. Now, it's a 5% chance or 1% chance or 0.5% chance or 0.00001% of a chance. But you make the tournament, you have a chance of winning the Super Bowl. It's a small chance, but you are now a year or two ahead of schedule. I mean, honestly, they could have messed around, got their 5 wins, 6 wins this year. Well, it's a rookie and they're figuring it out and they'll move forward. You make some changes. Next year, oh man, you barely missed the playoffs. Yeah, but you're building and Bo Nix looks good. And then the third year, you make the playoffs and get beat in the wild card round. So this team, people will say they're like a year ahead. I think they're like 2 years ahead, honestly, of where they could be or where other teams are at. And just look at the development of the rookie quarterbacks, right? I just talked about Drake May with his head coach getting fired. May looks okay. He's not in the playoffs. Michael Penix, they should have made the switch to Michael Penix sooner. No one's complaining about that pick now. Shock and awe, because you have Kirk Cousins. Oh my God. Jaden Daniels doing great things there with the Commanders. We'll see if Cliff Kingsbury stays or if he goes to perhaps Chicago and what that does there. And like I said, with Caleb Williams, okay, your other quarterbacks, not named Jaden Daniels, they're going to take some more time. And in that time, it might be like how we see with Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Like it took a few teams, it took some time, but those guys playing really good football and have their teams in the postseason. And yes, Lions Vikings is coming up in about an hour. So I'll be going a little over an hour today. Just talking about the Broncos, celebrating with you, taking your chat room questions. It is time to celebrate. You may never know who stops by. Sent out a bunch of invites to this show. So we'll see if people stop in and start sharing their thoughts about the Denver Broncos. But overall, man, you just have to be happy because you made it and you're a year or two ahead of schedule. And you've got a rookie quarterback that you can make plays with and, you can build around for the future. So as excited as I am about could they draft Ashton Jeanty? Yeah, fine, whatever. 2 weeks from now, I'll be really thinking about that. Right now, thinking about Buffalo. And Andrew Mason and I will be in Buffalo. That will happen. So we will be there and we'll be bringing you Orange Blue Today from Buffalo. I'll be doing some sort of post-game show from Buffalo. I don't know if that will be exactly after the game, if I can do it in the press box there or find a nice spot in the stadium. Actually never been to Buffalo, so that'll be nice, I guess. Buffalo in January wouldn't necessarily describe as nice, but it'll be nice to be there and certainly excited to be there. Certainly to cover that Broncos playoff game for you, Orange Blue Today. Make sure to check us out there. Yeah, man, it's going to be fun, exciting times had by all. And I just personally can't wait. Broncos are back in the postseason, and it feels awesome. It feels awesome. As Brandon Stokely says, Broncos are back in the playoffs for the first time, and they did it with a rookie quarterback at $53 million in a cap hit. Yeah, so there you go. I'm just answering a text right now, so sorry, I can't necessarily type and talk. It's Mike Evans. I'll let you guys know it's Mike Evans. So I'm just texting him back to see if he can fit in his schedule and jump on here with me as we talk about things, and we talk about the Denver Broncos making the postseason. Yeah, Kansas City 38-0, man, and it feels great, and you should party, and you should celebrate, and you should focus on next week. I think this entire season now becomes a celebration for this team because you got the franchise quarterback. The most important question that was around the Denver Broncos has been answered, for a while. It's been answered for some time. And now you've got it where you're going to the playoffs, and you're just excited about said run. Well, look who popped in to the studio here to talk a little Broncos football with me. You see him on coffee break. His name's Richie Carney. Richie,
Cecil, what's going on, man?
They made it. They made the playoffs, man. Can you believe this?
I truly cannot. I was thinking about it. I actually was in the stadium. I just got back. And I was thinking about it in the second half when it was clear that the Broncos were going to pull away with this one. It was kind of like a strange, unfamiliar feeling. It's like and there's a lot of people here in Colorado who aren't originally from here. I'm begrudgingly one of them. But it's like when you go away for a long time and you come back, there's like this weird nostalgic feeling of being back. And that's kind of what it felt like. It was like, man, I remember I was having flashbacks of the Peyton Manning years where the Broncos just dominated teams like that all the time. And it's been weird because we've been starved of it for so long that we get that feeling back. And I know it was against the Chiefs backups and, or at least a good handful of them. But listen, they hung a 40 burger for all intents and purposes on them, and they shut them out. So it wasn't an ugly win against the backups. And the whole game, it just felt like things were clicking their way. And it was just kind of surreal to feel that way again here with the nearly a decade of bad football that we've seen.
I can't believe you're back home already, although you do live close to the stadium.
I do.
How was it to see Bo Nix, like dealing, dude? Bo Nix was almost perfect today, and his throws were crisp, clean, on time. He stayed within the pocket mostly. He was absolutely dealing out there.
I'm fighting it so hard, Cecil. I'm fighting so hard to not just be so overly excited about Bo Nix. Like I'm a believer. I want it to work, but I even though I wasn't a huge fan of the draft pick, I wanted Drew Locke to work, and I wanted Case Keenum to work. And there's so many other times where I've just wanted it to work and it hasn't. And I feel like that's just made me a little jaded. But man, he makes some throws, and he just does things with the football that we have not seen here in so long. And he does it in a way that seems effortless at times. When he had that bomb touchdown pass to Marvin Mims against the Bengals, where it was 67 air yards. I haven't seen a Broncos quarterback throw a football like that in a decade. I mean, you can't even just say, hey, you got to go back to 2015 because Peyton Manning wasn't doing that in 2015. You'd have to go back to like 2012, 2013. So you're talking more than a decade before we've seen somebody take a snap for the Broncos and do something like that. And just the other thing, just the competitive nature that he has, you can tell he's just tenacious and aggressive, and the team responds to that energy. I mean, I know it got called back, and I really want to go back and watch the replay of the 50-something yard run with the attempted shuffle pass to Javonte. They got called back for being a illegal forward pass. It didn't look forward from where I was sitting in the stadium. But just, again, having life and energy and enthusiasm, teams that are bad or teams that are stagnant offensively, they're not looking for a way to turn a 50-yard play into a 70-yard touchdown like the Broncos were and like Bo Nix was right there. It's just an entirely different mindset. And it's one thing to watch it on TV, but it is different to watch it in person. There's an energy that he brings to the stadium, to the point where there were Chiefs fans in the stadium tonight who were like cursing Bo Nix. Like, when was the last time you had an opposing fan base be like, "Oh, Bo"? It just hasn't happened.
Yeah, it doesn't happen, but it happens now. I won't bore you with the details on that, but it was a forward pass based on where he released it and where Javonte
I know.
got
I
it.
just want them to adopt the rugby rules. Okay. In
Yeah,
rugby, that's a fair play, because
yeah,
inevitably, when someone's moving forward, the ball's going to go forward with momentum. I just think, in the spirit of the play, it was not a forward pass. And it
yeah.
bugged me, because I wanted that to be. I mean, that was like, that's like something you see the Lions do with like Amon Ra and David Montgomery or something.
Jamison Williams out there making those trick
Yeah.
plays. I will ask you this, and I've said it before on Dover and Cecil. I know you listen all the time as a priority.
Every day.
Mile High Magic is back, right? Like Mile High Magic, it's felt back this year. This game, it had to feel magic out there.
It did. And it coincided with Fan Appreciation Day. So the Broncos were doing all kinds of wonderful things for the fans, all kinds of crazy giveaway. They gave away a car, they were giving away season tickets, all this kind of stuff. You had the throwback uniforms, but with the throwback stadium kind of decor. So you had the old school logo, you had the old school like bleacher wrappings and all that stuff. So it really just did feel kind of magical to be back there. And there were people, that I was with, and the people in our stadium that were just like, when you put it all together, with they're up 30 points on a division rival. They're wearing those gorgeous throwback uniforms. They're about to clinch a postseason berth. It did feel kind of magical in that respect.
Yeah, certainly it feels like it's back. Richie, before I let you out of here, and certainly appreciate your time, everyone will be excited to watch Coffee Break tomorrow on our Denver Sports YouTube channel. Give me a preview, give me a taste, because I said it, and I'll back it up because it's true. This team's a Super Bowl contender. They're in the tournament, so I'm saying go to Buffalo and at least be a hard out. I'm not going to predict a win, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not laying down to Buffalo. I want to see where the Broncos measure up against the MVP of the league in their house, probably in snow. But like, give me a wild card preview here. What are you going to be talking about on Coffee Break this week?
Well, I'll tell you this. I agree with you in the sense that I'm not going to go out right now after the game and get caught up in the moment and predict a win. But I think something, a dynamic going into this game that made me actually a little nervous, obviously for no reason, in hindsight. But the Kansas City Chiefs had nothing to lose in this game. They could play loose, they could play free. And the Broncos, it was do or die to make the postseason, basically, for all intents and purposes. So that was kind of tight. This postseason matchup in Buffalo, it's the opposite. The Broncos, in a lot of ways, have exceeded everyone's expectations. They made the postseason with the largest dead cap hit in NFL history, with a rookie quarterback who was taken 6th off the board, and a lot of people didn't truly believe in. So, by all intents and purposes, even though they may not feel that way in the locker room, there's a lot of an element of these guys have outkicked their coverage in a lot of ways and can play loose because the pressure is on Buffalo now to stop them. So it's a reversal of this game. So I think in those situations, and with the margins in the NFL where the difference between the worst team and the best team is maybe a handful of plays or a handful of players over the course of a season, anything truly can happen. Now, it's going to be frigid and it's going to be raucous because Bills Mafia is one of the craziest fan bases in the NFL. But I think they've got as much of a puncher's chance as anybody to win this game. And if they do, then you're facing the Chiefs again. And we can really start talking about, a crazy finish to a season that none of us could have predicted.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Got to get past Buffalo, but let's just all enjoy this moment, man. It's been too long, and it's great for them to be back. Richie, thanks for jumping in, man.
Of course, my friend. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, peace. There he goes. Richie Carney, denversports.com. He hosts Coffee Breaks, so check him out on our Denver Sports YouTube channel. And he was at the game. He shows the game and then shows up here. That's fantastic, man. Like, absolutely epic times had by all. And yes, it is a celebration for Broncos country. Richie was the first, hopefully not the last, of special guests that I've lined up for this show. We're just celebrating. We're just hanging out, man. We're hanging out because guess what? The Denver Broncos are going to the playoffs, and they have their franchise quarterback in Bo Nix to lead the way, and it feels absolutely fantastic. So, to further the conversation about the Denver Broncos, here's a guy that you hear every day, Monday through Friday on Dover and Cecil. Behind the scenes, he is the man with the plan. He gets things done. He is one Kevin Kissner. Kevin, welcome to the show, man. Nice throwback jersey.
Hey, look at that.
Nice. Kev, they're going to the playoffs. Can you believe it?
When I tweeted out right after the game and I said, for the first time since February 7th, 2016, the Broncos are going to the playoffs. I can't believe I was sending that tweet out, and it felt so dang good. And it feels even better that Bo Nix is the guy to do it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you and go right there, man. Bo Nix was almost perfect in this game, setting a Broncos record for completion percentage within a game. I mean, just out there dealing all the time. The passes were crisp. It's not like these were easy throws either. He's going downfield. He's attacking. This game and overall, Kev, as you've been right there on Bo leaving from day one, and we constantly talk about it on our show because no one's out there having to defend bad takes. We've all believed in Bo. You're right at the forefront of that. His performance today and just overall as a season, I think, has been outstanding.
Well, when you look at his numbers, I mean, you could still make the argument that he could be rookie of the year. I mean, his numbers, I think when they're all totaled up, they're going to be beating Jaden Daniels from a passing standpoint. You know, obviously Jaden's got the rushing numbers, but look what Bo Nix has done. I mean, he's done this without elite wide receiver talent. Obviously, Courtland Sutton, big year, gets that 1,000-yard mark. But Bo has not had a rushing attack. He has not had any tight ends. Other than Courtland Sutton, he's been throwing balls to guys like me and you out there. So this is just such a great moment in Denver sports history. I mean, I'm jittery. I'm so excited right now.
I know, man. And now going to Buffalo for a true measuring stick game. I want to know, man. I want to know. Am I going to predict a win? No, you might because you're crazy. But hell, man, they get to go. They get to be there, and you get to see. You're taking on the MVP in his place with house money. So I want to see Bo learn that because as we've seen with Bo, we've talked about on our show, struggle, improve, excel. He learns stuff, and then he adapts, and then he improves. So it's like, go to the playoffs and learn, Bo. That's what I'm most excited about.
It's all cherry on top here now. I mean, going into the season, the main thing was, can Bo Nix be the guy? That was all we really cared about. You know, we could have all thrown our predictions out there and said 10 wins, 11 wins, 7 wins, whatever it was. But the plan was make sure this was the correct marriage between Sean Payton and Bo Nix. They proved that. Now you get into the playoffs, that's a plus. Now you're playing with house money going into Buffalo, and Bo Nix as your first playoff game. It's going to be on the road in Buffalo against the MVP. That's a lot there. And if you win that, let's just say this. Let's just say you win that game, you get Kansas City once again in Arrowhead where you had them beat and you just had a field goal blocked. So, and they're coming off a 3-week break. So I'm not saying they could get to the AFC Championship, but I'm just saying there's a road, and it's not going to surprise any of us.
Yeah, it's not going to surprise us that Bo leave from day one. I mean, do we even care anymore about the Bo Nix haters? I mean, I'm just kind of done talking about them because they got nothing left to stand on, man.
I just have to laugh at them now. I mean, they sat there. They said the arm strength wasn't there. Well, he has the longest pass out of any quarterback this year. You know, they said he doesn't have the arm talent. Well, we've seen that time and time again that he's done that this year. You know, we've had the draft experts say that he's a second-round quarterback. They shouldn't take him in the first round. He's the 6th quarterback taken. Well, how did that look for the Chicago Bears, who took the number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams? He hasn't shown that he's the answer yet. We saw Drake May, and his backup looked pretty dang good today for New England.
Joe
you
Milton.
know, and Penix was out there today, and he's got some potential we've seen in his 3 games. But
Oh yeah.
when you look at what the Broncos have done with Bo Nix, or what Bo Nix has done, it's special. And I told Drew Spivak this in the studio during one of the shows one day. I said, you got to really think about this. Bo Nix is kind of on pace to be the greatest quarterback in Broncos history. I know I'm not saying he will be, but right now, after winning 10 games as a rookie, you can make that argument. He is on pace to be that.
Yeah, on pace to be that. You see the numbers, only 5 quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, have had 3,500 yards and 25 passing touchdowns. Bo Nix has done that. And I said it earlier to start the show, Kev. It's like he's ahead of schedule by at least a year or two, and we already know he's the guy. So now put more tools around him, a running game around him. And then league, watch out, man, because they are here. They've emphasized, being back in the postseason now. Now they're a playoff team. Going forward with Bo Nix, we can look at the Denver Broncos entering the season, not like can they be competitive, but every year from now on, starting right now as a rookie, they're a playoff team, and that feels great.
Well, and I wrote that article on denversports.com a few weeks ago saying that once the draft is over in the offseason, I think the rebuild should be over. And I think it can be. The Broncos, they have the building blocks moving forward now. You have the right head coach. You have the right quarterback. You have a really good defense who can get to the quarterback. And that's going to be a challenge for them this week going up against Josh Allen. But you put a few more pieces there. I think the rebuild's almost done after this offseason. And I think a lot of players might want to say, hey, I see what the Broncos are building there. I want to go play for Bo Nix. That could happen.
Yeah. Oh, it becomes a destination, right?
Yeah.
It becomes a hot spot, much like it was with Peyton Manning. Kev, you got to feel like a proud papa today, man.
I'm
Bo,
so excited.
he got him to the playoffs. You've held off drinking until after the show, so thank you.
I got my Mountain Dew for now.
Okay, all right. Mountain Dew for now. Maybe
for now.
Mountain Dew and some other stuff a little bit later. Mountain Dew was invented as a cutter for Southern Comfort.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
See, I tried to tell Brandon Stokely that, and he doesn't want to believe me sometimes. But
yeah, Stoke also doesn't believe there's aliens, and there's totally aliens, Stoke. But anyway, Kev, appreciate you so much. You make the show go behind the scenes, man. Behind the scenes at denversports.com, behind the scenes at Dover and Cecil. If you're enjoying what we do and you like what we do, watch us on YouTube. You'll hear Kev on YouTube sometimes during our segments, and just behind the scenes, take a moment out, man. You make everything go, Kev. So appreciate you much, and the support of Bo Nix has been outstanding from day one.
Let's Bo.
All right, Kev, be good, man.
See you. Thanks. You the best.
There we go. Kevin Kissner, ladies and gentlemen. It is Orange Blue Postgame Live. Cecil Lammey talking about the Denver Broncos. You never know who's going to pop in when I've got invites out there to everybody. We'll just see who comes up. And I'll get to your comments here in the chat room. We're just hanging out, and we're talking Broncos playoff football. Let's go back to our VIP line because I had to get this guy in. And you've heard me talk about him before. So, Bronco Blake, welcome in, man. You're up. What's up, Blake? How's it going, man?
Oh, my man. What's up, bro?
They made it. Can you believe it?
We made it. We did it, man.
It's so awesome. How do you feel right now?
Oh, my God, dude. I am absolutely thrilled right now, man. I got to tell you right now, man, we had this game from the get-go, man. Bo Nix set the tone from the get-go, and the rest of this team just followed suit, man. I'll tell you what, man, these guys were ready to play, man. They had the playoff mentality and mindset. They wanted to come out there and they wanted to execute, and they did, man. They wanted this game more than Kansas City did. There was no doubt about it. And it was so nice to finally see a Denver Broncos team that actually had that sense of urgency that we haven't seen since the Peyton Manning era, man. What do
Yeah.
you think?
I think it's awesome, and I've shouted you out before on the show, Blake. When we were at the Senior Bowl, and you had always wanted to go, you're always, I want to go, and I said, go to the Senior Bowl. So you listened, and I'll tell you, as someone who says this a lot,
Thank
there's
you.
not a lot of people that listen. So you listen, and not only that, but you went and attacked the day down there in Mobile, where you basically cozied up to Bo Nix. So just going back to that week and your efforts there, your coverage on the Senior Bowl, and then getting to know Bo Nix like you did and watching him in practice from that day till now. We're about a year ago now from the Senior Bowl and Bo Nix. You were down there, you talked to Bo, you're on the field talking to Bo, like, just seeing his growth and development, Blake, it's something that you and I have talked about going back to that Senior Bowl.
Yeah, Cecil, I got to tell you, man, seeing the growth that Bo Nix has made from being down in Mobile to now, man, it has just been night and day how much he has taken that next step. You can tell when you are watching him through these games that, he has absolutely not only embraced all of the coaching that he did receive down at the Senior Bowl, but also with the Broncos, man, he has absolutely really, he has simply transcended and he has evolved into this franchise quarterback that we all knew he was capable of becoming. I know that when you and I were down there, for the Senior Bowl, we talked about his accuracy, we talked about his arm strength, we talked about, his footwork needing to continue to improve, to develop, and that he just had all the mental makeup, and he had, the anticipation, he had the vision, he had everything else that you're looking for. He had the athleticism and the mobility to extend plays out of the pocket and then, make those plays down the field. So to see him take all of that coaching and to see him just continue to get better and better every week throughout the season and to make that progression and that leap from the Senior Bowl to now, it's just been absolutely astonishing, man. I couldn't be more proud of how well that Bo Nix handled all, the attention, the pressure, and just all of the expectations down there, with the fact that he had, I think it was like a 77% completion percentage at Oregon, and having like this reputation of just being that very accurate, very experienced, quarterback with 63 starts, and to just see him just come out and just put on a hell of a show down in Mobile and be there, step for step and toe to toe with guys like Michael Penix, who we also raved about during that week down there, and to just continue to see him just grow and get better with his decision making, with his footwork, throwing with anticipation, and just making those NFL elite throws. And I looked at my partner at the time who I went down there with, and I then obviously talked to you as well, and I said, this might be Sean Payton's guy. This might be the next Drew Brees. This guy is so accurate. He makes such good decisions with the ball, and he has phenomenal ball placement. And we have seen him do that week in and week out, throughout this season.
He's a fighter, man. And that's one thing we saw down in Mobile that we see today and every single game with Bo Nix is he's not going to let up. He's not going to let go. He's going to fight. He wants to kill you every time. He's an assassin, man. He's cold-blooded. So you love to see that. Blake's takes, everyone's got to check him out. And Blake, you've definitely been on the Bo Nix, bandwagon from day one. Before I let you out of here, and I appreciate you jumping on here on our post-game celebration, Orange and Blue today, the Buffalo game. They're going to Buffalo.
Yep.
Not a lot of people are going to give them a chance. What kind of chance do you give them?
Cecil, I give them a great chance, man. If everybody can remember back to this game last season, it was a Monday night game, and everybody wrote us off. I mean, seriously, I don't even think that any of the guys there, at the studio, at the fan, really gave him a chance to win that game in Buffalo last year. And when Russell Wilson absolutely defied the critics and he completely shocked the world when he threw that amazing touchdown pass to Courtland Sutton, man. That let me know that we had the makings and we had, that talent, and we could go toe-to-toe with these elite AFC teams like the Ravens, like the Bills, like the Chiefs. And if Russell Wilson can make it happen with what he had just a year ago, Bo Nix is going to absolutely go in there, and he's going to be more than capable of not only putting on a show, but we are going to take this game down to the wire with Buffalo, and I give them a great chance to win. I actually do expect the Broncos to upset them, and I'll go as far as saying we're going to go in there and beat them 34-27.
Wow. Blake's takes right there. Bronco Blake,
Sir,
appreciate you, man. All you've done for me
great.
behind the scenes at the Fan. It's been fantastic, brother. I appreciate you much.
Thank you so much for having me on, Cecil. Love you, man. Go Broncos. I'll see you soon.
Peace. There we go. Go Broncos. It is a celebration, and you never know who's going to stop in. That's for sure. Bronco Blake there is jumping in there as well. I've got some other links out to people, so I'll continue the conversation. I'll jump in the chat room. Got about 800 comments, 830 now here to get to, so thank you very much for jumping on board here and celebrating with us as we celebrate the Denver Broncos beating the Kansas City Chiefs, but most importantly, going to the postseason. The playoff drought is over. The playoff drought is done. And Diggity saying to Blake, get me hyped. Yeah, that's right. Blake gets everybody hyped. That's what Bronco Blake does. He just gets you hyped about the Denver Broncos. And it's something that we all need to celebrate and we all need to be excited about. That's for sure, man. KC Mack says this, just getting Nick's playoff experience in his rookie season is enough for me. I mean, at the end of the day, the experience that Bo's going to get is so very valuable. The experience of fighting to get there. And I understand the Chiefs laid down, the Chiefs didn't have any starters, blah, blah, blah. But you got there. You won. You controlled your destiny. This isn't sort of like you backed in because Miami lost and Cincinnati lost and you tied and whatever. So I don't want to hear any of that. And I don't think the chat room would be like that. God blessed hope not. But like, it isn't about like, well, the KC laid down and you backed in. No, you got there. You got there. Bo Nix led you there to the postseason. Getting experience right now and then getting playoff experience, as Casey Mack says, that's enough for me. It's enough for me because he's the one that did it. He's the one that put in the work. He's the one that did the improbable. And I know that there's a lot of people that talk about odds out there. I'm not one of them because, well, I've seen too many people like lose their stuff literally due to gambling. So I'm not going to be one that talks about it or promotes it. If you do whatever, fine, go have fun. Don't do anything that would damage your family or whatever. But the stupid odds makers had them at 5.5 wins, right? 5 wins, whatever. That was dumb. That was always dumb. Pro Football Focus, I believe, ranked them as the 32nd best roster. Air quotes when I say best, 32nd best. They're the worst roster in football. That was dumb. ESPN's power rankings had them at like 31. That was dumb. 2 rules in life. Don't be dumb. Don't be in a cult. And guess what? There's a lot of dumb people out there when it came to the Denver Broncos. So now if people are saying that it's just time to put it to rest of like, who cares? Zach Bai says it about Nikola Jokic, like, and I'm going to say that with Bo Nix, like, it's just an intelligence test right now. If you are out there being like, well, yeah, but yeah, it's just an intelligence test. Like they got their guy. Their guy got them to the postseason. It's been forever since they've been in the playoffs, and this feels outstanding. It feels great that the Broncos would be there. It feels great that the Broncos would have that opportunity to continue their season. And listen, I'm Mr. Draft. I'm Mr. Draft 101. Like, I am that guy. I'm excited about going to the Shrine Bowl. I'm excited about going to the Senior Bowl. That doesn't flipping matter because the Broncos are going to the playoffs. So I can put off my draft prep for another week. and then it'll be time to dig in. I'll be all right. Broncos will be all right. Everyone will be all right. You know what? You get to continue your season, and that's the main thing. You get to continue to your season, and you get that playoff experience. It's so very valuable. There's only 2 quarterbacks in franchise history that have been rookies that have taken the Broncos to the postseason. It's John Elway and it's Bo Nix. I mean, that's what you do. Captain More Token says, once you get your foot in the door, you make the most of the opportunity. Exactly correct. That's exactly correct. Like, you're there now. You're not there by accident. They didn't give away playoff spots. You know what I mean? They're not just, we feel bad for you, Denver. Here's a playoff spot. No, you had to go earn it. You had to make tough decisions, including a Lloyd Cushenberry decision, a Justin Simmons decision. I don't think the Russell Wilson decision was tough because, one, let's just say him and Sean didn't get along. That's a guess. They totally love each other, but I'm guessing they didn't get along. But you make that call to move on in some tough or tougher decisions with the vision that you'll have this all right. With the vision, I mean, I go back to the West Virginia trip. That was all Sean being like, I feel like my guys have to be out there in West Virginia, and they beat Tampa Bay, and then they go out there in West Virginia. It's a freaking flood. It's wide open skies, and they go to New York. It's a monsoon, and they win that game barely. It's ugly, whatever. Bo Nix has 50, 60 yards, whatever the number was. It's like, guess what? That togetherness, that coming together moment was really what helped cement things for the Denver Broncos and kind of cement them together in a team sort of atmosphere. They really came together during that time, and it was outstanding to see. It was outstanding that they would learn that about each other and that they would make those strides together and win together, grow together, learn together. And it's really that moment that kind of helped propel things moving forward with this team. So it's fantastic that they have that together. It's fantastic that they will be continuing on. And it's fantastic that the Broncos make the postseason by beating the Chiefs. You never know who's going to stop by, including the Honorable Dan Jacobs. Next up, I was on your show. Now you're on my show, buddy. And you told me this morning, don't worry. They're going to win. Well, Dan, they won in a big way.
Yeah, you were nervous. A lot of people were nervous during Denver game day this morning. Text line lit up. Everybody was nervous. One guy said he was going to his tailgate and he was ready to get sick. He was so nervous. I issued a money-back guarantee on my show 4 weeks ago. Knowing they had a tough schedule ahead, I said, Broncos country, it's happened. They've made the playoffs. It's going to happen. There was never a doubt in my mind. All going into the game, all this, the Carson Wentz and the Chiefs are going to play people too, and they can't rest all their starters. Emphatic Bronco win. There was never anything to worry about.
Yeah, never anything to worry about. They went out and handed Andy Reid his only shutout as Chiefs head coach.
Yep. Now, again, you were on my show this morning. I was also talking to John Davis. I think it's going to be a really tough week for James Merilatt. Now, he was talking about if they lost this game, it might be time to have a conversation about Payton as the head coach. And at the end of the game, I hear Tony Romo saying it's time to have a conversation for Sean Payton for Coach of the Year, which I think will probably go to Dan Quinn or somebody like that. But, hey, he's in the conversation.
Yeah, he's in the conversation. And, you and I talked about it. It's like it's almost time to start thinking about his next contract. Like, it's Bo and it's Sean together. And this combination, I'm not going to say is taking the league by storm, Dan, but it certainly changed a lot of people's mind. A lot of people thought Sean was washed. The game's passed him by from a year off in TV. And there were plenty of people that didn't like the Bo Nix pick. It's about the fit together.
It seems like almost every time they lost a game, that was the narrative you heard.
Yes.
That somehow Sean Payton's like some bumbling fool on the sideline, like Woody Hayes slapping a player or something, has no idea what he's doing. Get out of town with that, man. Like,
oh, my goodness.
he took a 5-win team to now the 10-win team and the playoffs without. You've talked about it. I've talked about it. This roster is nowhere near complete. It's only getting better, and they just made the playoffs.
Yeah, they just made the playoffs, and now they've got house money. If I'm Buffalo, this isn't the Texans. I think the Texans are the easy out in this postseason bracket. But if I'm Buffalo, I've got a bit of a concern, Dan, and I appreciate you jumping in, brother. And before I let you go tonight, and thank you for your time. I mean, if I'm Buffalo, I'm thinking, I'm got to take these guys seriously. They're in the dance, and they're coming to your house, but this team's they're playing YOLO ball, man.
Yeah, actually, a texter texted that in after you were on. You said, well, they may get waxed. I said, the texter said, we don't know that. And I agree on this Buffalo thing. Like, Buffalo has a history. Until they don't have a reputation for coming up short in the playoffs, then you can expect that that's a possibility. And a worse version of this team last year, had no problem. I wouldn't say had no problem with Buffalo, but handled Buffalo. So, or got right there with them. So, I don't think the Broncos or Broncos country has to go in this, oh, well, we made it, and it's a moral victory, and we're going to go get waxed in Buffalo. This will be a football game.
Yeah, it'll be a great game. Dan, you and I are a couple old heads at the Fan, so it's always great catching up with you. And I didn't even need to send you a reminder about my show, like you need to send me.
Right.
Hey, well, buddy, wake up.
I have to get a hold of your publicist. And then, remind them, get your people, get a hold of your people. You're big time now. You're the midday show host again. Hey, man, you're big time. Congratulations for all your success.
All right. Dan, appreciate you, man. Be good. There we have him. Dan Jacobs. John Davis in the show now.
Yeah.
Hi, John Davis. They made the playoffs. Can you believe it?
Can you believe it, Cease? I've known you for 6 years, and this is the first time we get to talk about a Broncos playoff game together. Couldn't be more excited. I knew it would feel good, even against the Chiefs B team, but I'm even more excited than I thought I would be.
I know. It's fantastic. We even got Mike Evans here as well. Let's bring in Mike, do a little 3 roundtable here. Mike Evans, They made the playoffs. Can you believe it?
Oh, come on. You wanted to say threesome. I know you did.
Either way, we got it done here on this show, and the Broncos got it done. Mike, let's start there. And just the Bo Nix. Do people not believe now? Like, seriously, what's a kid got to do, man? They're in the playoffs.
You talked about this early on when we were getting ready to do this season-long evaluation of Bo. And you said the key is going to be is we know he's going to have some rough spots. We know he's going to make his mistakes. The question will be, how does he learn from these mistakes? Does he make does he become a mistake repeater? And one thing that's been obvious to me, and I think all of us throughout the course of the season, is that, whenever this guy's hit a bump in the road, how quickly he has seemed to learn from it. And that's what has me so excited about him moving forward, is that he just seems like he's somebody that's just going to continue to get better and better. You're going to be able to continue to put more and more on his plate. And you can do so confidently, knowing that, he may have a slip up here and there. He may make a mistake, but he's going to learn from it, and he's going to move on, and you're going to continue to be able to build and build.
And John, Broncos history better than most. Only John Elway and Bo Nix have led their teams to the playoffs as rookies.
Yeah, it's incredible. And Mike, I was with you right before the season started, and we landed it. If anything less than 25 touchdowns for Bo Nix, we'd actually be surprised. We both felt that he would land here. What was the final interception total for Bo?
I think at 12, right? 12?
And that's where we had it. We had it at 12. So we thought 25 and 12 with Sean was where he would land. And he did, kind of based on everything. And leading him to the playoffs in the manner that he did, nobody gave him a shot. But it's what I like is what we're talking about, the mistake repeater. Simeon, Brock, Drew Lock, Tebow. After 6 games of film, all of them were figured out. Yeah. And none of them were ever good again. With Bo, after 6 games of film, he was better. And then when the teams corrected again right around the Cleveland, Indianapolis, by last week, he corrected again. Right. He's now adapted twice in his rookie season to teams preparing for him. And he's shown out every time it looks like, well, I don't know, is this where the bleeding starts? He stops the bleeding, and he actually steps up. That Cincinnati game last week, the second half, I know how that ended. But I don't know what anybody needed to see after that. I mean, you play a terrible half of football. Elway used to do that. You play a terrible half, but then you slow down and you take your team down the field and you shell shock the opponent.
Yep.
And then he comes out today with everything on the line, and he's the most supremely confident player on the field. It's been pretty incredible what he's been able to do, adjusting and adapting and working with Sean Payton.
And Mike, I like the fact that they went and they got it. You know what I mean? And I know you'll fight this tomorrow morning on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth of like, we got to stop saying the KC did, laid down. Yeah, KC laid down, but you still had to go take it. And they did, Mike.
Yeah, they did. And I loved the way that they came out aggressive. They were not afraid of the moment. They were not nervous in the moment. I thought that second possession when they're facing that 4th and 1 at like their own 38, I'm not going to lie. I'm like, punt it away. Don't give Kansas City any reason to feel life, punt it, pin them down and go to work defensively on Wentz. But when they went for it and got it and then quickly went down and scored again, I'm like, okay, this team has come with the mindset of we're not looking to back in. We're not looking to just, thank you, Kansas City. We appreciate the handout. I mean, we're going to go out there. We're going to play this game. We're going to play it straight. We're going to play it aggressively. We're going to play it not only to win, but to win impressively. And they did all of that. And it's a remarkable accomplishment. I don't want to hear any talk about, well, who did they beat this season? And, they got a Kansas City team I don't care. This was a team that was supposed to be 3-14. Come on, we were all together there in August at camp, and what was being talked about? Hey, they're going to be lucky to be able to put together a roster after taking the cap hit for Russell Wilson. They're going to have one of the worst rosters in the NFL. They're going to be. We saw mock drafts early on in the season that had them picking as high as 3rd. And so when you factor all, and that was all factored in with the idea that they were going to be playing the schedule that they were playing. So now that it's played out this way and they've exceeded expectations and have won 10 games and going to the playoffs, I don't all of a sudden want to circle back and go, well, I mean, all along we knew that the schedule was going to be easy. I don't want to hear any of that.
All right. He's Mike Evans. John, you and I'll hang out a little bit. Mike, before I let you go, a tougher task, keeping Brandon Stokely in line or Mark Schlereth in line, who will be in full show pony mode, by the way, tomorrow.
Well, Mark is easier now because he's in New York and we kind of control him a little bit more. He doesn't have the run of the studio like he used to. Okay. We can kind of control him a little bit more, but Stoke, I got to give Stoke credit because I was nervous about this game all week. I'm not going to lie. And Stoke by Friday was like, relax. I've been in this situation before. It's going to be easy. Just relax. And he ended up being right. And I'm very glad he was right.
Mike, I'll see you tomorrow morning, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care.
See you, Mike. There's Mike Evans, ladies and gentlemen. It is Cecil Lammey, John Davis, JD. Now we get to stretch out with this one, man, because they've made it. And I want people to know, and I've said this to Zach, who I think might have been upset when I told him because I keep saying it, but I'm like, you don't know yet what it feels like here. So let's refresh it to everybody because Zach is new-ish, 8 years here.
Which
you know
is
what
crazy.
I mean?
Been
Which
that long,
is crazy, but it's been that long since this team's been in the playoffs. But they're here now, and as I said earlier, and I think it was when Richie Carney stopped by, I said they're a playoff team now. Yeah. Every year we can look at the Broncos like we used to, where they're a playoff team. Okay, and what? Yeah, they're going to make the playoffs, and what?
Right.
Now that they've established this again, John, I think they're back in that conversation.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. I mean, it used to be, that was the thing with Russell Wilson when he came to town running his mouth. I mean, he kind of spoke up a little bit too early, but John Elway didn't go to the Super Bowl here. He went back to the Super Bowl here. Peyton Manning didn't go to the Super Bowl here. He went back to the Super Bowl here. The expectation isn't, Russell's like, I want to get 5 to 10. It's like, I love that attitude, Russell Wilson, honestly. He spoke kind of big, but he kind of felt it was automatic. And I think that's what frustrated him. This team went out and just kind of, showed it this year. They didn't talk a big game. They just went out and they took the wins. This is 10 wins. Who's Sean Payton's mentor? Bill Parcells.
Parcells, yeah.
What did he famously say about your record? You are what your record says you are.
Yes.
This is a 10-win team that is in the playoffs. It is not my fault or my fault. It's not the Broncos' fault that the Bengals lost to the Patriots week 1. Okay?
Right.
That was the Patriot. That you should not have lost to them. It's not the Broncos' fault that the Dolphins failed to get a suitable backup when Tua was hurt and they lost a bunch of games in the middle of the season. The Broncos never let this season get out of control. And that's huge. And like you said, going forward, it's now playoffs is the expectation every year. How do they handle that expectation? They've got a good guy in charge. The Texans, they're going to be back in there. I don't think they handled the expectations very well this year. I think we saw a lot of regression. With the Broncos going forward, how do you handle it? Is it the expectation? And Bo Nix, the way he handles himself, the way Zach Allen handles himself, the way Pat Surtain handles himself, they seem to believe, hey, we can get anybody. So this is really exciting. I think you're right. It's a new era. That past 8 years, it's done. Playoffs every year is what we'll be talking.
Yeah, and I'll say this, John, because you're talking about how it starts and the culture starts and Sean Payton starts. I'm going to go above, and I'm going to say Greg Penner, man.
Great. Yes.
You see Courtland Sutton get the money today, and they really emphasize him getting the money today. Look at what happened in Dallas with Cooper Rush. You know, a guy that's probably going to be a chiropractor or something, you know, maybe an assistant coach or whatever. But like Cooper Rush was going to hit an incentive based on playing time. I think it was like 55% of the snaps. He was at 53%. They didn't play him so that he wouldn't get that bonus, you know, and you just look at the way Penner field needs to be changed, you know, with only a game or two left. Done. All the painting and the end zone celebrations and the free belt buckles or, you know, the free cars or
there was something every game this year.
Yeah. And
every
it's just
game.
That sort of emphasis. This is the way we're going to do business. Hey, Sutton, can I have a raise? No. Here's some incentives. And then he works his ass off. He goes to get those incentives. And then you make sure he gets that. I think he made an extra couple million based on his incentives this year when he wanted a raise and they told him no. So, John, I think it's the organization, it's Sean Payton, but it's really Greg Penner and this ownership group.
Yeah, and what I love about Penner, what I wanted when the Broncos were for sale, I wanted an owner like Pat Bolin. If you look at the guy who owns the Ravens right now, Bishotti, I forget his name. We only see that dude when we need to. And we only see Greg Penner when we need to. The important parts about Greg Penner, he lets us see, but he clearly lets the football guys be football guys. But like with Nathaniel Hackett, when something important happens and he's got to put his foot down, like Pat Bolin telling Josh McDaniels, sorry, man, you got to get out, he'll do that. But they've invested in winning. And also, you know, Greg Penner had a real focus, I think, on, why are the guys getting injured so much? Mm-hmm. After Hackett's his first series, saying, why are guys are getting injured all the time? And then the past 2 years, Broncos have been one of the healthiest teams in the entire NFL, to the point where Riley Moss's injury, we focused on it so much because it was kind of the only one with Alex Singleton. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, God bless them, they have Russell Wilson, but that's the best owned team in the NFL. The Ravens have good ownership. The Packers, it's different. But you see those types of teams just always competing. They're always in the playoffs because it's from the top down.
Yeah, top down, they've got it set, and that kind of sets the things right on the field. So just overall, John, before I let you out here, and I appreciate you hanging out with me as always, brother. It's great talking football with you. You know, now in the playoffs, I've said it's house money. I'm not predicting them to win, but I really want to see this team go out there and be a tough out against Buffalo.
Look, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm nervous. We have messed this up multiple years in a row. If I'm Buffalo, our backs are against the wall. Everybody's looking at us going, we're not believing in you until you give us a reason to believe in you in the postseason. And I don't want to hear about, well, Josh Allen had him in place 13 seconds. Yeah, Mahomes had 2 timeouts. What did you think was going to happen in that game? If I'm a Bills fan, and this is me riding high, like, and I'm with you. I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to predict these guys to win the Broncos. I'm not saying, we're going to the Super Bowl. But if I'm a Bills fan, I'm looking at my head coach and I'm looking at the Broncos head coach. And I'm going, do we have an advantage here or are we at a disadvantage here? And Sean McDermott has not done well against coaches that have previously been to a Super Bowl. in the postseason. And if it's there late, you say house money. If this is a close game in the second half, the Buffalo Bills are going to be getting pretty nervous against the Denver Broncos.
Yep. And the Broncos can be relaxed because they're not even supposed to be there.
Ahead
Right?
of schedule, baby. Ahead of schedule. And there's also something to this, too. I mean, in 2005, when the Steelers came in here and beat the Broncos, we were just so happy we didn't have to play Peyton Manning. We forgot we had to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you may be so happy Joe Burrow's not coming to town. You better not forget that you still have to play a team with Nick Bonito, Pat Surtain, and Zach Allen.
Yep. Going out there hunting quarterbacks. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
You know what the Bills are going to do? Get ready for this. It's dirty bunch formations. They do it well. They do it well, but they'll bunch on one side, usually put someone in motion. You're not really sure what the reads are. They try to attack your triangle defensively. What they do is somewhat simple, but it's very effective. So Vance Joseph, you got to test this week.
He does. And James Cook, when the Broncos beat them last year, the biggest reason the Broncos won that game, I get the turnovers, is the Bills wouldn't give the ball to James Cook after he fumbled. And if they would have kind of stayed after him, they probably would have beat the Broncos. So I kind of expect that to change too. But it's, Cecil, in 1991, the 1991 season, the Super Bowl was in 1992, obviously. That was my birthday. It was supposed to be Washington, Denver on my birthday in second grade. And Elway got hurt. Wade Phillips called a hell of a game, but the Bills beat us in the AFC Championship, ruined my birthday. The Broncos got to go get this one for me.
He's only been holding on to that for 30 years.
Exactly.
He's fine. He's fine, everybody. It's John Davis. John, appreciate you, brother. Be well.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Cease.
Peace. There we go. John Davis, ladies and gentlemen. Cecil Lammey, Orange Blue Postgame Live, going through some of your comments. And Michael likes John and his perspective. Yeah, that's right. Michael also says, listen to the fan every weekday. Awesome to put a face with the voice. That's right. I have other invites out. We'll see who else can jump in with me today. Certainly appreciate everyone that has. Phil is on dad duty. I did get back from Philip Lindsay. He said, I'm on dad duty or else I jump in. So Phil, we appreciate you, bud. Just throwing it out there. I threw it out there to everybody. I know guys are busy. Guys are running around. Stink was calling his last game of the year. So, I understand if guys have stuff to do, but I wanted to throw it out there because this is a celebration. This show is one for my mental health so I can brain dump about the Broncos, but two, it's for you guys. We're just celebrating you, Broncos country. This is for you, man. You go like this is your show because the Broncos made the postseason and it feels great. It feels fantastic. And we got some haters in the chat. Oh, the Bills. Okay, that's fine. The Broncos have made it to the postseason. And now they get to see what they can do. And we're going to know. And at the end of the day, win or lose against Buffalo, I'm going to know where this team is at based on their opponent. On the road, tough place to play, probably going to be crappy weather. It's Buffalo in January. And I will be there. Andrew Mason and I will both be there. Okay. Buffalo weather, crappy. I'm going to be wearing like 6 layers, right? So the players, you're going to get a test from the weather. You're going to get a test from that fan base. They're rowdy. They light tables on fire. Our pets' heads are falling off. Like, yeah, that's what they are. So you're going to get a test from the fans. Josh Allen's going to give you a test, a big test with those dirty bunch formations. So they're going to attack and be on the attack. Probably a lot of underneath stuff if I'm to kind of early swipe this thing. And a lot of stuff to the running backs and tight ends. They have plural tight ends and 2 tight ends that can make it happen. So, Khalil Shakir on some underneath stuff, maybe Cooper on a drag route, something like that. So, yeah, Buffalo presents a tremendous challenge. If you're the Denver Broncos, yeah, you're there. It's not like you're not going to play, It's not like you're going to just crumble because it's the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Guess what? You still have a chance. So go take your chance, right? And make the most of it. Make the most of it. I like this one. Broncos finna turn up. The Broncos are young and hungry and dangerous. It's very, very evident to me the type of desire that lies within that locker room about how they're just hungry. And a lot of them are angry. Now, Marvin Mims, Nick Benito, those are two players I've highlighted as being like, they kind of angry. Now, they're not jerks to the media at all, but just in the way that they prepare and the way that they look at things, like, yeah, they're kind of angry. Marvin Mims blowing it up. What'd Marvin do today? Right? Let me look at that box score. I'll finally jump into the box score an hour, 9 minutes in. 5 for 51 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, on a weekly basis, Marvin Mims is the most dangerous player on your team. You know what I mean? And just the way that they were able to uncork his ability, really. And you look at the 6 touchdowns total on the season. It really started around the Falcons game, honestly. This might have started a little bit before the first game against Kansas City, which they should have won. And that was a game when he played 13 snaps. You know what I mean? The previous game before that, the Baltimore game, and again, 41-10, but that's 25 snaps, 1 catch for 4 yards. Since then, in the Atlanta game, he only played 14 snaps, but he started running the ball a little bit more. 2 for 49 and a touch, 3 for 44, 3 for 105 and a touch, 4 for 20, 3 for 62, 8 for 103 and 2, 5 for 51 and 2. I mean, that's the definition of a weapon right there. That's the definition of a guy that's taking his anger. You got to get angry. You got to get mean. And he's putting it forward, right? He's taking his anger and he's putting it forward in what he does on the field. And I think it's fan-flipping-tastic. I think it's great. Harry said, clowns. We're back to that, Harry. Are we seeing that in the chat room? I've only been browsing the chat room, so I appreciate the live chat here. But yeah, we might have some clowns in there. That's fine. They'll be all right. You know, trolls are going to troll. You don't get mad at a dog for barking. Why would you get mad at a troll for trolling? Yeah, it's whatever. Can anyone knock you off this cloud? You're a Broncos fan. You're on cloud 9 right now. You're in the postseason again. You got a rookie quarterback. Sean Payton got the best out of a rookie quarterback. Like, that's tremendous. So yeah, other fans can come in on the chat room and say some mean things about the Broncos. They made the playoffs with a rookie quarterback that people said wasn't the right guy. Now I looked over, I think it was Mel Kiper. I'll look at it on X right now and say, I saw it earlier because I'm going to talk about this on Dover and Cecil. So I made sure to make a note of it because the early swipe of rookie quarterback rankings are out. And, you know, it has, and this is from Mel Kiper, not Todd McShay, who might consider retiring from making quarterback positions. By the way, the Titans with the number 1 overall pick because New England can't lose. And then Gerard Mayo gets fired for it. Man, I liked a lot of stuff. Anyway, I did like, okay, here it is. This is from Mel Kiper. Not that you'll be able to see that. But it's the top 10 quarterbacks of the 2025 NFL draft. His number 6 quarterback is Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is going to be like a 3rd-round pick. You've probably got 2 that go in the 1st round, Shedeur and Cam Ward. And they'll be top 10 picks. And then maybe somebody sneaks in at the end of the 1st, maybe. But this is not a great class at all whatsoever. Bo Nix would be ranked above everyone except for Shedeur in my early rankings. And Shedeur I have as a number 1 overall pick. So, you know, as far as the Bo didn't get, Bo was there, like, yeah, just whatever. Whatever. That's something now we can look back and say, like, wow, there are a lot of people wrong about Bo Nix that still won't shut the hell up. And I wish they would. I wish they would. But at the end of the day, I don't care. Like, whatever. People have terrible opinions about Bo Nix. Bo Nix really cares, man. And I think at the end of the day, and listen, everybody works hard in the NFL. Not everybody, but most players, right? It's the whole Tebow thing of like, I'm working real hard. Okay, you're going to work hard, but do you have the talent to match that and put you over the top? A guy like Josh Allen, he's got talent, he's got work ethic, he's staying on track this year. Anyone that's heard me talk about Josh for the last couple of years, I've alluded to this, but I'll be like, Josh's got to focus on football stuff, not them fast hair girls or anything like that. Like, Josh focused on football means MVP, means the Bills are a legit Super Bowl contender. Josh not focused on football, maybe focused on other things, that leads to disappointments in the playoffs. Josh Allen, very focused. He's got the natural talent to match his work ethic to put it over the top. Pat Mahomes, very talented, has the work ethic to put him over the top. Bo Nix, while the physical gifts aren't the rocket arm like Josh Allen or the insane rushing ability of Lamar Jackson, but the physical skill in terms of pro skill, and that's why like college quarterback versus pro quarterback or college skill compared to pro skill, it's just two different. You're looking at two different things. Somebody could be a great college quarterback. That doesn't mean that they're going to be a great pro quarterback. We'll look at Jalen Milroe or whoever. Like, okay, there's college skill. Jackson Dart, who I know is already getting a little bit of buzz, not as a first rounder, although I'll find out on the road trip, see where Dart is at. But like, you look at it and you go, you know what? This is something where you go, all right, the Broncos have their quarterback, and you're looking for that skill set that fits the pro system that he's going to be in. Sean Payton was looking for a specific skill that was within Bo Nix. And you heard Tony Romo talk about it, and it made me feel so good because, full disclosure, I love Mike Shanahan, love Mike. And I'm friendly with Mike Shanahan. I can't say that like we're best buddies or whatever, but anytime I've been able to just listen, I don't even want to talk ball with Mike. I mean, I do want to talk ball with Mike Shanahan, but I mainly just want to listen. Like, shh, Mike Shanahan is talking. So I love Mike and I appreciate Mike and the way that he sees this game. Like he sees it in levels that people don't see. And he's incredible. So it made me feel great during the broadcast when you heard Tony Romo talking about the Eastern Illinois connection. Mike Shanahan, I got Think Like a Champion down there somewhere on that bookshelf. It's the Mike Shanahan autobiography that Adam Schefter wrote with him. Mike Shanahan, Sean Payton, and Tony Romo were talking about Bo Nix. And they're just kind of sharing some stories, right? Because they're all Eastern Illinois guys. Jimmy Garoppolo is as well, but he wasn't in on this conversation. And it was like Sean saying what he saw in Bo. This is before the draft. And Mike saying, this is what I see. Having Mike Shanahan as a resource, even if it's like, hey, what'd you think of that kid? Mike Shanahan studies all the time. Mike Shanahan's going to know these players, these prospects, what you're looking for. And again, back to the college thing. You can be a great college player. It doesn't mean jack if your skill doesn't translate to the pro level. And so you're looking for, with quarterbacks, beyond the physical stuff. Scott McCloughan, the former GM of Washington, told me years ago, he's with the Jaguars now. He's like, the physical stuff's so easy to see. Like, not that I don't talk about physical skill, but I've certainly minimized how much of an emphasis I would put on physical skill because he's got the big arm. Bo Nix's arm is strong enough. Saw that at the Senior Bowl last year. He's not going to throw it 80 yards on a frozen rope. He'll throw it 70. You know what I mean? And it's the longest pass of the year, by the way. So with all these things, and then you look at the experience with Bo Nix and the 60-plus starts in college, you look at the accuracy, you look at the fact that he can run. Like, all of these things add up, and then you give Sean Payton that guy. You just gave the pyromaniac the Zippo, right? And so now Sean Payton gets to take that skill set, work with it, and already has it in the postseason. They're already a playoff team with a rookie quarterback. I had him at 9 wins. And people said I was a homer, which is fine. I'll take it, whatever. Like it doesn't hurt my feelings. Let's just say that, right? Let's just say that. So if we look at this situation and we go, Sean Payton found his fit and Mike Shanahan was a part of that, I flippin' love that all day. I love that all day because Mike's going to tell you. If you can't play, Mike's going to tell you. If Mike sees something that's off, and not to say that Mike was perfect in every decision he ever made, but that guy's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. And that's why it's so important to have resources in football and in life. Have resources that you will listen to and then have care. Back to what I think about Bo Nix. The care that Bo Nix has as the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos, it means something to him. And he was ready for this. They said this on the broadcast as well. As soon as Oregon was done playing, he goes into draft prep. He goes to the Senior Bowl where he struggles, improves, and excels. Tuesday, Bo Nix, not great. Not great, Bob. Wednesday, better. Thursday, best quarterback at the Senior Bowl. And I didn't fall for the Spencer Rattler banana in the tailpipe, which was always just a terrible takes, honestly. And I tried to be nice. I guess now I just won't be nice anymore. There goes my New Year's resolution. But last year I had to fight against so many people being like, well, they could just get Brock Bowers and Spencer Rattler. How about you don't do that? How about you get Bo Nix? And you make it happen with Sean Payton and Bo Nix. It's been fantastic. So don't get out of here with that Spencer Rattler stuff. That was always, I should say, hogwash, right? Hogwash that people would bring that up of like, you can get your guy later. No, you can't. No, you can't. Don't give me Tom Brady. Don't give me Brock Purdy. And Brock to a certain level, obviously not Brady levels. But it's like, you got to get a quarterback in the first round, man. And you got to get the right fit. You got to get your guy. And Sean Payton was able to get his guy. That's for sure. And it's been fantastic. It's been great to watch, and it's been great to see. And you want to see more. Now the Broncos are there. Now the Broncos made it to be a postseason team. They made it to be a playoff team. And it is time to, get it on. It's time to see how far this season can go, right? Time to see what's on the docket, what's on deck for the Denver Broncos. Wild card round is getting set, and the Denver Broncos against the Buffalo Bills. Have they announced it yet? I'm just browsing right now. Somebody in the chat room help me out. If they've announced what day it is, it affects my travel plans. So I just want to know if the Denver Broncos Buffalo Bills game has been announced. I thought it was going to be Sunday. But look at this one. 9 years, 6 different coaches, 14 different starting quarterbacks, 7 losing seasons, and the Broncos are back. You want to talk about hell, right? You want to talk about the hell that you've been through. If you're the Broncos, you've been through this hell. You've weathered the storm. And you come back now, back into the postseason. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic what this team has done. By the way, our buddy Brandon Perna tweeting about the Broncos stat that Spot RAC, RAC, had the Denver Broncos made the playoffs despite a league high $89 million of total dead cap, the largest single season dead cap hit in NFL history. Russell Wilson accounting for $53 million. Yes, super wild card weekend. The Broncos are coming to our place. So tweets the Buffalo Bills. I don't think it's been announced yet if it's Sunday. Sorry, I'm just kind of browsing here and trying to figure that out. Buffalo has been finalized. Head to Buffalo next weekend. The time, date, and broadcast will be announced later Sunday night. So as of this writing by BuffaloBills.com, that has not been announced, but I feel it was kind of going to be Sunday. Might be the morning game on Sunday. Either way, Buffalo is the show, and Denver get to ruin their party. Sorry, I ruined your party. Like, yeah, okay. Let them party. Let them celebrate. The Broncos are in, man. The Broncos are in. Yeah, and the trolls are out tonight, Wes. That's right. Trolls are going to be trolls. It's fine. They'll be okay. I'm sure they'll sleep well at night. Broncos, baby, says Michael. That's right. Broncos country, baby. So there you go. That's what you love to see. Roger, can we get the old school uniforms in the playoffs? I would like it one day if the throwbacks were just their uniforms. And that's what they would wear. So, we'll see if that actually happens. This one from Ed from Connecticut. Love listening to the fan every day. Go Broncos. Thank you, Ed. We appreciate you very much for that. It was always a treat to have Mike Evans and Dan Jacobs, Richie Carney, John Davis, Kevin Kissner, and Broncos Blake on this show with me. I'll stretch it out a little bit longer. I'm double checking with some other people that I've reached out to. So maybe they'll jump in. Maybe we'll hear from them. And it would be great to do just that. Back to the chat room. Cecil get Mason in a fight. Yeah, I don't know. It's Buffalo fans, right? We go out there. OBT's the BFD, including in Buffalo when it's 6 below. Captain says practice out in the cold all week. I think it's going to snow on a Tuesday. So, and the Broncos are a cold weather team. We do have to see Bo play in elements again to see how that looks. It would be cool if there were other throwbacks, but we'll see. How does Buffalo stop Sutton and Mims? Basically make them. The funny thing is I wish we had seen more of Estime. With about a month left in the season, I wanted him to get like 40 carries. Morgan Freeman voice. He did not get 40 carries. But I will look up what Audric Estime did get in that time, because what I would really, really enjoy, because in the playoffs, you have to do stuff differently. I talked about dirty bunch formations that you're going to see. He got close. Look at that. Close. 12 for 34 and a touchdown, 9 for 24, 9 for 48, and then 5 for 13. So that's 14, that's 23, that's 35 carries. Close. Closer than I thought. 35 carries over the last month. What I would like to see, because Jody asked, how do you stop Sutton and Mims? What I would like to see in the playoffs is we're going to run the ball. The Broncos, that's their emphasis. They're going to run the ball. And, that's Estime with another dozen carries. It's Javonte with a few carries. Javonte looked good today, motivated. And then Jaleel McLaughlin with some carries there as well. So if you could get a total where you're about 30 carries for the three backs combined, I think that would be really good if you were the Denver Broncos now headed to the postseason. That's something you'll do. I'm going back to the box score here just to browse and look. All right, you had 43 carries as a team, including Bo Nix with 7 of those carries. So let's say not 43. Let's just say like 37, right? 30 for the backs, 7 for Bo Nix. That sounds about right, because then you don't become one-dimensional. They might get a lead on you with Josh Allen. And if they do that, then you're going to become one-dimensional, and then you can just drop in cloud and just say, oh, we're going to play umbrella coverage. We're going to drop 8. We're going to rush 3, and you're going to have to pick us apart underneath. That's where Sutton and Mims would face more difficulty if they themselves are facing like different coverage situations. If you're the Broncos, I'd say run the ball a little bit more if you can. If you can, that's for sure. Let's see. Cash. AK Cash says, lives in downtown Buffalo, Bills fan for 39 years, go to every playoff game. Denver is a sneaky team. Should be a good game. AK Cash, appreciate you, man. See, that's a smart football fan. there's the football fans with the 2 beers and the straws in the hat. Not saying that they're not smart, but like, and then you get the irrational troll fans, and then you get smart fans and be like, hey, Denver looks sneaky good. And I agree with AK Cash here, because Houston is the gimme. Houston is the team like, oh, okay. But Denver is not. Now, it might be 41-10. That's kind of a worst case scenario for me. Maybe it's worse than that. But a worst case scenario for me is like the Baltimore game. It's like, oh, wow, you don't belong on that field. If it's 41-10 Buffalo, we can go, okay, they made it. They deserve it. Nobody get triggered. Get as offended as you like. But at the same time, you can go, okay, where's the measuring stick? We know where they're at. But the Broncos, they got house money. They got Sean Payton. The Bills have Sean McDermott. I don't believe Sean McDermott is a good head coach. Joe Brady's a hell of an offensive coordinator. He's done really good things with Josh Allen. Josh Allen is really focused on football. Caden says, God bless Bo Nix. That's right. Playoff, let's Bo. There you go. I like it. The Broncos are hangry. Vicky asked that. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Benito and Mims are hangry. So there you go. Add in hunger. Dan saying heart, huge heart. Add in hunger. Delicious combo. Yes, hunger, Dan. Hunger. Dan corrects himself there. Yeah, and that gets you a great combination if you are the Denver Broncos now. And then Jermaine saying Marvin Mims, 4 touchdowns, 2 games. He's the playmaker. That's right. So happy for Marvin. And I want him to stay mad. Stay angry, Marvin. It's what got him to this point. Eat gunpowder for breakfast, Broncos. LFG Bo from Miranda. That's right. Let's go. Vegas Larry says preseason 5-5 over under, and everyone knew our schedule. 10 wins and playoffs. Great season. And it's not over yet, Vegas Larry. I will be in Vegas on Friday. I will be in Buffalo on Saturday. So there you go. Yeah, 10 wins. It's a great season, and it's not over yet. So that's what you enjoy. By the way, Michael says cold, 30 degrees high both Saturday and Sunday. No precipitation. Weather Channel app. Michael, thank you. Thank you for that. It'll help our travel plans I'm making with one Andrew Mason. So, yeah, Lions game has started. What? Lions game started? What? Hey, everybody. Yeah, so I better be wrapping up. I'll double check with some people to see if they can make it in or not. But yeah, here we go. Denver Broncos, man. 38-0, 10-7 on the season, and you're feeling good. Can Buffalo be ran on? Usually teams go away from that because they score all the time. So it's difficult to run on Buffalo because Josh Allen's it's going to be 21-0 in the first quarter, and Josh Allen's going to force you out of that. So there you go. Bo Nix has the most passing yards of all rookie quarterbacks. Clowns! Yeah, if you're hating on Bo, you're just a clown. Why were KC fans so mad? They're big mad. I don't care. What do you want? Yeah. So here we go, Bo Nix. Here we go, Denver Broncos. And the sack masters out there, Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper, love Coop. Zach Allen doing his thing. Like, it's flipping awesome to see how they can just like go after the quarterback all the time. So if you're Josh Allen, and the dangerous thing with they muddy it up, it's a dirty bunch formation that they'll do. Dirty bunch means you're not really going to get to Josh Allen. So can the pass rushers come through? Can the secondary hold? Everybody hold. Like, can they hold enough? And again, dirty bunch formation is a 3-by-1 formation, 3 on one side, or maybe it's 2 on one side, and you motion someone over, and you do it at the last moment before the snap. So the motion person doesn't really get set by the time the ball snapped, usually gets a free release. And then as a defender, you've got triangles in the secondary, basically. And so you've got 3 defenders in a triangle coverage responsibility. Buffalo attacks that triangle, and the motion player can be underneath. That's why I'm expecting underneath stuff all day from Josh Allen. 1, it's an easy throw. It's quick pitch and catch. And 2, it keeps the pass rushers away. But you're going to have a dirty bunch formation. You'll motion over, and then they'll break, and you're not sure as a defender who's my first read, who's my second read, who's my third responsibility. Because based on where you're at in the defensive triangle, you're going to decide, that's my guy. I don't let anything pass me. So it's going to cause confusion. That's why they do a dirty bunch. That's why they motion at the last second and snap it. You don't motion over set, and then you can tell by a stack or a bunch like how guys are aligned as to where they might be running routes. They run a lot of pick plays from it. It gives Allen easy reads, and Josh Allen's dealing this year. They're dealing. He's dealing this year. So, it's interesting. It's interesting. Bronco says Joe Milton was slinging it today, and Milton can do that. He can throw it 80 yards on a rope. He's one of those guys. That's for sure. I am a bro. He graduated from Trust Me Bro University. Says, yeah, next year's about getting Nick some toys. So do just that. Bo was practicing his slant routes. I did see that. Yes, that was very good. KW says Bo had the longest in air TD pass this year and top 5 in quarterback completions over 20 yards. I'd say he has plenty of rocket fuel in his arm. Yep, that's correct. The arm strength talk was always overblown. He doesn't have the arm. Like, no, he's got the arm. It's about velocity, honestly. Again, just going back to, and trust me, if I knew every detail of quarterback scouting, I'd run a team, because nobody does. But arm strength in terms of distance doesn't matter as much as how you cut it. How tightly do you spin it? Does it rise and fall properly so that you can throw with touch, even if you're throwing with zip? And watch the throws from Bo Nix today with proper footwork in the pocket. He was throwing with zip. He was throwing with touch. That ball was going up and then down properly, right on the money, right on the spot. Great pass placement from Bo Nix today. And I think that was outstanding to see, because against Cincinnati, one thing that I had said in my complaints last week, my complaint box, I was filling out the form, a very angry, strongly worded letter to Bo Nix. My complaint was, why are you abandoning the pocket, man? Your line's protecting you. Other than Trey Hendrickson, the Bengals don't do anything. But he was abandoning the pocket. Now he's making plays outside the pocket, and the Mims throw, double coverage, 4th down. Like, that's a great throw. It's a great play. But you really saw Bo, and again, it's Casey's backups, but you saw Bo stay in the pocket, step up, deliver the ball, and that pass placement, his feet were like on point. And then Lacers. Okay, Andrew Mason says Sunday, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So there you go. And now I'm texting Mace back to see if he can jump in. And there we go. And then I'll tell him, if not, I'm going to wrap soon. There you go. And sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. All right, there we go. Yeah. That's how we get it done. Bo Nix getting it done. And you love it. You love it. Cheers from Triple X in a lack. Felt it. Cheers. Cheers to you as well. And my Gatorade Zero. Gonna go have some dinner and watch this Lions and Vikings game. So there we go. Bo Nix is all cerebral. That one comes in from Sam. And that's correct. And the nice thing is, and the great thing about, like, again, quarterback scouting, quarterback analysis is just let me know where the guy's head's at. Let me know, like, what a guy looks like in terms of under pressure, 3rd downs, and red zone. For a quarterback, And again, numbers are numbers, but for a quarterback, it's always, what's he do under pressure? Bo Nix, don't want to blitz him. He'll kill you. What's he do on third downs? What's he do in the red zone? Bo Nix looks really good in all three of those categories. He did at Oregon as well. So you love to see that. You love to see that. So and I sent out another text to see if more people want to jump in. But either way, about ready to wrap it up. Just going through some of your chat room comments and Broncos country celebrate. I don't even, what are the haters going to say? Whatever. Who gives a, you know what the haters are going to say? Time to live it up. That's right. Congratulations to Broncos country out there. Sam says, nobody can talk ball with Mike Shanahan. That's why I said I just listen. I might drop in something here or there, but mainly if I'm around Mike Shanahan, I am quiet as a church mouse, which maybe some people would like. Patrick says playoff bound. Let's beat the Bills. That's right. Roger with a naughty word I can't put up on the screen. And then Patrick, we can be the sleeper in the NFL. Exactly. They can be the team that nobody wants to play. Aren't they that already? You want to play Houston. I've seen the future. Houston will not win in the wild card weekend. I'm not predicting the Broncos win against Buffalo. However, I am saying, like, go out there and prove people wrong. Go out there and just surprise everybody. That's something you could do today. That's something you could do if you are the Broncos. SM Super Strat. Is that like a Stratocaster? He says, they said you were Homer. You have a full head of hair. That's right. Yeah, the Homer talk doesn't bother me. Or the, like, just admit you're a Broncos fan. That talk doesn't bother me. Like, it's whatever, man. And the hair stuff always makes me laugh. When I think someone in the chat room earlier was like, get a flipping haircut. All right, you'll be all right. You can give the Pyromaniac the Zippo. Coin it. Savvy Productions. Actually, I think that's old Dennis Miller line. So credit where credit's due. I'll do like Mark Schlereth. I'll give you credit one time, and then I'll never give it credit again. Give the Pyromaniac the Zippo. Yeah, that's right. Oh, wow. Roger had him at 12 wins. Holy cow. So back. Yeah, 11 could have been possible. 12 in that possibility. Again, on my handy dandy sheet. I still have it here, right here. Let's see. There you go. 9-8 or 10-7. Mace had him at 7-10. And I did have him losing to the Chargers and losing to the Bengals and then beating Kansas City. So there you go. And this was the day the schedule came out when Mason and I did our Orange Blue Today schedule release show. There you go. In pen yet. 9-8 or 10-7. Right there. 10-7, man. Feels great, baby. Feels great. And yeah, not apologizing for blowing out second teamers. Sorry, not sorry. Yep. Run the rock and they have a shot. Rickus Rick, I agree with that. Just change it up a little bit. When you get to the postseason, when you can do stuff they don't expect you to do, advantage you. Advantage Denver. So yeah, change it up. Mark, Nuno Betancourt. Speaking of Stratocasters, although I'm not exactly sure what kind of guitars Nuno played, whatever he wanted, because he's a brilliant guitar player. So thank you, Mark, brother. Should invite you on the post-game show, right? Get you in here. We do some Zoom calls together. You can get on camera and talk Broncos, girl. It's okay. Jarrett says full playbook going to be fully, man, for the playoffs. I love it. David says can't wait for OBT this week. That's right. Cheers all. Go Broncos. Chat room's making fun of Spencer Rattler now. I am way behind in the chat room. Holy cow. I apologize, guys. Like I have like 2,000 comments in the chat room. So not going to get to them all. I do apologize for that. And yeah, we'll see what everyone is doing on this celebration as the Broncos make the playoffs by beating the Kansas City Chiefs in week 18. Yeah. Yep. Glory lasts forever, says Dan. Let's go Broncos. Broncos going to the dance, Vicky. That's right. And Merry Christmas from the Chiefs. Yeah, they laid down. Whatever. You had to win. You had to win to get in. So there you go. By the way, Sheldon says it is Sunday. Yep, Sunday. And Mace told me it was 11 a.m. Yes. Sunday, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So there we go. There we go. All right. How you feeling, Broncos country? Feels great, doesn't it? Feels great. You got a 77 throwback with Bueller on the back. Okay. There you go. Chad says, nobody wants to face the Bengals. Don't worry. You won't have to. I saw somebody put out like Jake Browning's record and Joe Burrow's record. It's like their exact same record. Joe Burrow's better than Jake Browning, obviously. But it's like you got to play defense in this league at least a little bit. In Cincinnati, like don't cry for me, Argentina. Don't cry because, well, you didn't do it. Like great. And that's ownership, by the way, and that's coaching. As I talked to someone a little over a month ago, I was like, is Zach Taylor in trouble? And they're like, yeah, but the Bengals ownership is so cheap, they're not going to get rid of him. So it's great to have Greg Penner. I guess as I wrap up the show, and I got people bailing on me. I see you. Appreciate everyone that could join. If you couldn't join, I won't take it too personally. Oh, you love the drama. As I wrap up the show, and I'm looking at your chats, I will say this. Ooh, Melbourne. Good day, mate. Thanks, Greg Penner. Thanks, Greg Penner. Anytime I get to talk to Greg Penner, I think it's awesome because he's a really good listener, but he's also incredibly intelligent at when to make the right moves, right? So this ownership group, and it's all of them, it's the Walton Penner group combined. It's everybody, but I want to highlight Greg specifically. Greg, thank you, man. Thank you for listening to Broncos country and understanding the standard that was set here by Pat Bowlen. Greg Penner did not come in and be like, this is totally going to be different. He came in and remember, the Walton Penner group studied the Broncos for years, understanding that this ownership was probably going to come open. And we don't have to get into the problems within the Bowlen family, but you would understand, especially at that level, like, hey, there's a business opportunity here. When Walton Penner Group bought this team, and there were people saying like, oh, it's just part of their portfolio, it's just like a side thing, all crap. That is all incredibly wrong. Greg Penner's there almost every day, and around the team and listening, adding in his sense, but observing and listening. And that's what makes a great leader. So it starts at the top. It starts with Greg Penner. It starts with ownership. And when you have ownership, it's like, what do you need? Here it is. Let's go win. You know what I mean? That kind of like expectation, not working on the cheap, right? Not like, oh, well, it could use some new turf, but yeah, there's only a game left. Can't you make it work? Can't you patch it up? Don't we have some sod somewhere laying around in the back? No. And I'm talking the way they've approached the stadium, the way that they've approached their facility at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit. Like, they could have easily just left that alone. Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, was fine. Now, the locker room, full disclosure, should be a little bit larger, and it will be in the new facility. But Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, was fine. But what standard are you setting? You're setting a higher standard. And that's what Greg Penner has done. So we're all excited about the Broncos, and they're in the postseason. I'm excited that Greg Penner cares so much about you, about this team and this brand and this logo and this community and this fan base and just this standard. It's a standard of excellence. And that's what Greg Penner has brought. It's not just part of the portfolio. It's not just an investment. It's not just a side gig. Any of the other clowns, any of the other crap that we had to hear about the Walton Penner Group when they first purchased this team, it's like, that's all out of the window. They had to get rid of Russell Wilson and have an embarrassing amount of dead money to do that. But they did it. What would other owners have done? And I'll leave you to name those owners. What would other owners have done? We signed him to the deal and he's still Russell Wilson, and let's give him 2 more years. Because remember, had you kept Russell Wilson, you weren't signing up for 2024, girl. You were signing up for 2024 and 2025 based on his contract. So rather than have the pain of 2 years of below average quarterback play, get as offended as you like, and a non-fit with your head coach would be miserable because money. They make the decision to move on from Russell Wilson to embarrass themselves. Basically, we're going to pay you $50 million to go away. We're going to draft somebody that nobody's thinking about. And they went to the playoffs. I mean, what an incredible story and foresight. Again, Greg Penner is a great listener, and great listeners are usually great leaders. And that's what I appreciate. That's what I appreciate. Okay, and now it's yep, there you go. As everyone's confirmed. All right, there we go. Andrew Mason and I gearing up for another road trip. OBT is a BFD. And we're going to have the best coverage for you, not only for the playoffs, but for the offseason. Be back at the Shrine Bowl. Be back at the Senior Bowl. Be back at the Combine. Be back at the owners' meetings. Like, wherever the Broncos are, we will be there. And not only myself, but Josh Dover, hopefully, can join me for a couple of trips. Andrew Mason will be there, of course, because that's what Mace does. So it's fantastic. Brian loves the flow. All right. Christopher says, Broncos have always been Super Bowl or bust. Yep. Mile High Magic is back. Let's go. Skolnick. If you know, you know. I'm not talking about Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which he's also in as well. Yeah, man. Feels great. Feels great. And you love to see it. You love to see it. We're almost at 2 hours. I'm just going to go to 2 hours, so I got 6 minutes left. Get in your shots now. I'm talking about shots in the chat room, not shots. You bunch of lushes like Scattaboo out there puking on New Year's Day, girl. Vicky says bye. Bye, Vicky. See you in the next chat room. Finally, the Broncos have come back to the playoffs. I get that from the drive. Top 3 coming off the top rope with it, right? It's language. Language is very important. Glam says much love. Thanks for the Broncos playoff love. Sup C, go Broncos. That's right. Yes, Jules, I think I should thank George Payton as well. And in fact, it's a conversation I will have later on. And it's maybe a philosophical conversation as I learn how to speak English. I want the Broncos with their $100 million in cap to still think like they're on a budget. That was really a key because it focuses you down so much. Like you're on a budget. You don't really have a budget this year, but if you think you're on a budget, it's like saving money. I read somewhere sometime like to be rich, you have to have the pain of saving money. Like it's a pain to save money. I want everything in the world. I want Conan's father's sword hanging up on my wall. And yes, I know I could get it at any time I wanted, but I also like saving. And when you save money, you have to go through the pain of not having to spend whatever. So I kind of want George Payton to approach this offseason as if he's on a budget, even though he's not. You should be able to shop better. You're not exactly going to all the bins and Dollar Tree, girl. Like, you'll be able to shop a little better, but I still want him to have that mindset of being so precise. This is exactly what we need. Other than Josh Reynolds, their free agent moves and draft moves worked out wonderfully for this team. There might be somebody else I'm forgetting about, but just top of my head type stuff. So I want that. I want that sort of mindset of like, yeah, we got all the money, but you know what? We're going to work on a budget and we're still going to be very precise, because when you know who you are, and that may be the number one thing. Why did I wait to the end of the show to say this? I think the number one thing that we can all look at and say, the Broncos have an identity now. It's Bo Nix. And when you have an identity, you know who to replace people with. And I would say rushing the passer is their identity. I love it. I love the fact that they now aren't kind of grasping at straws. Like, what are we? What could we be? What were we? What can we be? No, they know. They know. And they went out and they got it. And now they're going to continue to build on that. That's what I love. That's what I love. Still going strong. Yeah, for 2.5 more minutes. I figured I'd show. I saw the countdown, the clock that I was at 1 hour and 57 minutes. I was like, I might as well go 2 hours. And of course, thank you to Richie Carney, Kevin Kissner, John Davis, Dan Jacobs, Bronco Blake, Mike Evans jumping on the show. Heard back from others that couldn't quite make it in, but I appreciate them so much. So thank you all for that. Chris says he's going to wear his jersey tomorrow. I think everyone, Orange Monday, right? Orange Monday. Congratulations, Bo Leavers. Yep. I like that. Ha! Sheldon says, listen to Cecil Lammey in his Nate Jackson voice. Yeah, when Nate wrote that song and he's like, don't listen to Cecil Lammey, that was because I said you don't bits? That's when I said I can't speak English. That's when I said you don't blitz Pat Mahomes or he'll kill you. And so Nate, who is a friend, checking my uniform, Nate, we'll get it all zipped up for you. Nate Jackson wrote the song and was like, don't listen to Cecil Lammey. I was like, don't blitz Mahomes. He'll kill you. So I've always taken issue with that. Not that I didn't mind getting made fun of, whatever. I got broad shoulders. But I was just like, hey, I speak the truth. Don't blitz Bo Nix. He'll kill you. How about that? There you go. Broncos country over Bills Mafia. Nice, Pedro. Appreciate you very much. Yeah, Dover and Cecil, man, we're taking the Denver airwaves by storm. We're really changing the game, and we appreciate everyone for jumping on board 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I feel we're doing a fantastic job and bringing you more. We're going to outdraft any other show on the Denver airways, even on our own station. No one's going to do the draft better than Dover and Cecil. We out Bronco you. We out Nugget you. Like, we're going to bring you the best Denver sports talk because we're there and we care. You come to Tchotchkes for the atmosphere and the attitude. I'll wear some flair tomorrow. Usually my outfits draw some ire from people. They'll be all right. Get as offended as you like. You're my boy, Blue. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate you very, very much. Budget buys quality. I like that, Joshua. That's a really good part of the conversation there. It was glorious. I know, man. Feels great. Billy Bean mentality. Yep. Let's run the tables. Let's go for it, man. Nobody thinks they can win, so go win. When my boss, I'm going to go over 2 hours just because I am. When my boss in the machine shop, and I'll maybe even say his last name because whatever, he's a Chiefs fan. His name was Bob. And I remember telling Bob, because I would go on my lunch break and I would do the show with Mark Schlereth, like just over the phone, talking fantasy football. And I remember one time, and my owners, shout out Steve Larson, who owned S&H Products. Steve, I couldn't be here without you, man, because the owner of my machine shop would let me go and do radio stuff in his office while everyone else was working. Like your lunch break was supposed to be 20 minutes. I'd be on the air for an hour with Mark Schlereth. And Steve Larson, the owner of my machine shop that I worked at making firefighting equipment, almost lost that finger. I don't know if you can see that scar. But anyway, the owner, Steve, would let me use his office because he believed in me. But I remember one time I went back to work, and of course, because my lunch break is an hour, Bob, who was a Chiefs fan, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm going to be on the radio someday." And he goes, "No, you're not. Get back to work." Hey, Bob. How you like them apples, right? Where's my notepad? I got a number, right? Hey, Bob, suck it. You know what I mean? Like, so nobody thinks the Broncos can win. Go win. Go win. Boom. Win. Nobody thinks you can. Go win. There's no better feeling than proving people wrong. None whatsoever. I've done it most of my life, and I love it. I love it because I've had a lot of people doubt me all my life. Well, the Broncos are going to be doubted. The Broncos are going to get hated this week. Just eat it up. Eat it up, Broncos country. You're going to get hated this week. You're going to get hated on. You're going to be seen as the little brothers. You're going to be seen as the little siblings, the little sisters. You're going to be seen as they are not even supposed to be there. It should have been Cincinnati. Cincinnati would have been way better than the Broncos, and this is terrible, and Buffalo's going to roll. Let him say everything and then shut them the hell up. Let him say it all. And then shock the world. I'm just saying. So, there you go. All right, Elvis says good show. If Elvis likes it, we got to win this race. Lemonade is that cool, refreshing drink. All right. There we go. Okay, everybody. That is a wrap. I got to make some travel plans. Be safe, be kind, know that you're appreciated. Watch our Denver Sports channel, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. And we appreciate you very much. I am Cecil Lammey saying, F yeah, Broncos. Stay frosty.